Hi, I'm Sportster Paul. We're here with the Analog Diet Week 3. This diet is how I went from this, 318 pounds, to this, 170 pounds. Took about 9 months for most of it, a year and a half to get it all off, and that was 3 years ago. Now, because of the pandemic and bad habits, I started eating nuts and cheese, not counting calories. I gained 20 pounds back. So that was a week ago. I was 190. Or not a week, 3 weeks ago. Now I'm down to 180. I've lost 10 pounds. Here's a spreadsheet that I'm keeping track of. I'm trying to lose 10 pounds a month and I'm actually beating that goal. So in the it's not quite 3 weeks because they're 8-day sessions. I make 4 of these bowls and then go shopping. So every 8 days I go shopping. So 3 times 8, 24 days, 10 pounds down. So I'm just delighted by this. You probably can see it compared to the earlier shows. The belt fits, everything's feeling better. I'm lighter on my feet. Today we're gonna do kind of a crazy meal, salami and gravy, and a whole package of salami. You're like, wow, that's high calorie, a lot of salt. But yeah, it is. But with analog, everything's in moderation, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and you balance them. So we're not going to use a lot of fat in the sauce or put cheese on this. The fat's in the meat. So the protein and fat is combined into one portion. All right, so let's get going on this. Okay, so in what I call the open shelf in my refrigerator, I've got broccoli sprouts. I found alfalfa sprouts won't stay fresh for the 8 days. So broccoli sprouts do. Cilantro, 2 big things of cilantro, and mushrooms. So for the mushrooms, I go my scale, bought the scale. I'll link to this on my website. Let's do one more here. What's that, 28? That's a little high. 20 grams, because I use these mushrooms in the breakfast. I make the same breakfast every day, a big vegetable omelet. Take this. Now, this is analog because it's not all meat, it's not all fat like keto, it's not all vegetables like vegan. It mixes the macronutrients. And because of this, we're going to be able to have this salami. And I'm not saying you should eat salami every day. For the cilantro, I get 2 sprigs, cut about half of it. I'll put this back towards the fridge. And then I weigh this, and this is just like a ceremony, right? You don't have to be this particular. 11 grams. I make a note in this pad where we're going to add up the calories for today. 11 grams. I've got a spreadsheet that I calculate the calories of all the stuff we're adding, the vegetables, the sauces. This goes in here. I'm going to open this. Just got back from shopping. This for the 4 bowls. It's going to last us 8 days, 2 days a bowl. This gets divided by 4, and that's about 1/4. I could weigh it out. Some days I do, but let's get going on this. Come on. I usually flip it upside down. Now we're going to go back and get what I call the upper shelf. Here's a picture of that. Cilantro I kind of leave a little open. I also leave the asparagus in this upper shelf a little open. Looks like I grabbed it all barely. Some of it's fallen. So let's go back while I'm cutting this. Let's go back and look at the meal I had, 5-6 days ago, which was a ham Alfredo. Really good, rich. I'll cut this and narrate over, showing you the pictures of that day. We started with the omelet, then the ham Alfredo bowl, then the coffee, and we'll tally up and see the 1,000, 1,100 calories that was, okay? I have the same breakfast every day pretty much, 12 vegetables and a big vegetable omelet. So I chop them up, put them in this little bowl, add some reverse osmosis water to the bowl, then get that and toss the whole mess into my scan pan frying pan. I butter the pan before I throw the vegetables in, otherwise even with a non-stick pan, the pan's getting old and it's time to replace. We're going to look at that later in the show, one of these episodes, but boil it down, you know, I set the stove about 4.5 out of 10. Well, that boils down, then do the eggs, flip it all together. Here's the finished omelet, having Tapatio hot sauce for this one. That's the one thing I changed, is the kind of hot sauce. And then lately, instead of the sour cream, I've been putting on sliced cheese, some New York aged reserve craft cheese. So after that breakfast, it's time, about 2:30 in the afternoon. I have lunch, so I start making it about 1:30. Here's the vegetables, the 21 vegetables that we're cutting. You can see down below. Same vegetables every time, measured out according to using them all, or limiting the calories on some of them. Get those vegetables. For this meal, it's going to be ham Alfredo. So Publix ham, it's low sodium ham. I figure why not? It tastes great. So I get this low sodium ham. I tell them slice me a fairly big, not quite a half an inch, but a fairly big slice. I'm looking for something like 700-800 grams of of ham. Chop that up, cube that up into little squares. So that's pretty straightforward. It cuts nicely. And then once I get that cubed up, go sprinkle that on top of those vegetables we saw, and then go back to the refrigerator and get some Alfredo sauce. And for that, I just like Bertolli brand. Use 3/4 of a cup. Works out to 210 calories, which is the fat part of this. So the vegetables have the carbohydrates, the meat has the protein, and then the fats are in this Bertolli sauce. 210 calories, not too much. Stir all that up. It takes a bunch of stirring and digging and going around twice. So digging down and stirring 12 separate times, going all the way around the bowl till it gets uniform. And then measure it out to split it into 2 identical size meals, one for the next day. And I wanted to show you the picture of the 2 meals because there's a huge amount. It's identical amounts in both bowls, but that little bowl you can see looks much fuller, which is a psychological trick you can use to make yourself feel full. Use smaller plates and utensils. And so it's a ton of food. Put the small bowl away. When I'm done, here's the food waste that I used to just throw in the garbage and wondered why a week later I could smell it, right? So now I keep a bag in the freezer and I just toss all that food in that bag and freeze it. And then when it's garbage day, I take it out of the freezer, throw it in the garbage. Same thing, recycling. I keep a paper towel to the right side of the sink and wash stuff out when I'm done with it, like the sauce here. Put it upside down, let it drain, and then after a day it's dry and I can go toss it in the recycling bin and ready to go. So here's the meal, cooked and ready to eat. Because this is the analog diet where I'm trying to lose weight, I've made sure to not put any cheese on it or anything extra besides the fat that's in the Alfredo sauce. So I added it all up and keep track of it as part of the ritual. So 856 calories, and that's for 2 days. So cut that in half. The breakfast is 409. Add that. And then you can see the coffee that we're going to show you in a minute, that's 150 because of the cup of milk that I had to it. That's 987 calories for the whole day. And here comes the coffee. I have to tell you, I thought I'd be starving at nighttime. This coffee, right around 6, 7 o'clock, it takes the edge off. After halfway, I put ice in it and have it as an iced coffee. And that just settles me, and I don't have anything to eat or drink after like 7, if I can possibly avoid it. So that's a good day with 1,000 calories and some weight loss. Okay, so that was the upper shelf, I call it, in the refrigerator. Here's that snap. Now we're going to switch down to the middle shelf. Come on, having a little trouble. 21 different vegetables in various amounts. Most of the amounts adjusted so that I use them all up and they stay fresh. Spinach. Okay, here's the clamps for the bags. These aren't open bag, these are bag vegetables. And so while I cut these and chop them up, let's talk about the next meal I had, which was salmon, salsa, and Parmesan cheese. And that was a great meal. It's one of my favorites. So I'll go over that in pictures and narrate that while I chop and prepare all of this stuff. Every day starts the same with a big omelet. This is 12 vegetables, not the usual 21 I chop up in the big lunch bowl, the big vegetable bowl we're making down below. So get those, put a little reverse osmosis water in with the vegetables, toss it in the pan. This is a scan pan, which I'm replacing with an OXO or OXO pan. We'll show that in a few shows down the road. Then I get the eggs added. So it's about 60 calories for the vegetables, 100 and something for the eggs. So we're getting up to about 250 calories. Then, to add the fats that'll keep me from getting hungry later, I put almost a quarter cup of sour cream, some horseradish sauce, and today I changed hot sauces. Today was Tabasco. So the Tabasco sauce rounds it out, 409 calories. Then I go to make this favorite salmon salsa meal. Frozen, I'm using Atlantic salmon this time. Get that from Publix. Weigh it out. You can see it's pretty heavy now, 359 grams. First thing I do is fill a big bowl with water, toss the entire contents of that package into the water. And about halfway through chopping vegetables, I cut the package open and put it directly in the water. Then I get my Corelware dish out and I put the salmon, chop it, after it's thawed, I chop it so that the microwaves, I'm going to put it in the microwave, can get to it. Here you can see got it in the microwave with a paper towel, 2 lengths of paper towel wrapped around it, so if it spatters, it doesn't spatter the inside of the oven too badly. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, depending how I feel. Then meanwhile, I've been chopping the vegetables this whole time. So there's the vegetables. You can see the bowl's pretty full. That's, I think, a 4-liter bowl. Then the salmon comes out. You can see it's done pretty well. Now we're going to reheat the bowl. So the salmon, even if it's a little underdone here, the important thing is that it's kind of flaky and that I can just use my fingers and break it apart. Meanwhile, I've got the rest of the bowl cut. While that was cooking, I've gotten all the high-calorie stuff you can see, the garlic and the garbanzo beans and the peas and all of that I carefully weigh 22 grams. I weigh the salmon, and I wanted to show, sorry it's out of focus, but I wanted to show this plate that's got all the fat from the salmon. And you're not going to eat that, which is why I weigh it after it's cooked to calculate the calories. And here you can see the weights come down to 305 grams. So it's cooked to perfection. I just lucked out guessing. I wish I jotted down how many minutes, but it just breaks apart with my fingers. I don't have to cut it. It doesn't work as well to cut it with a knife. So I just take my fingers and break it apart and sprinkle it on top of that vegetable bowl with our 21 vegetables. Then I get out the salsa. This is Mateo. This is a brand I like from Publix. It's hot. They got hot, medium, and mild. A cup of this, which is only 80 calories. So this is a very low-calorie sauce. Stir it all up. Like I say, you go around, dig down 12 times, go around twice, and you get it stirred pretty well. You can see it's pretty uniform. And then I wanted to show both bowls because I split it. Same amount of food in both those bowls, but you can see the bowl on the left, the smaller bowl, looks so much fuller, and it's a lot of food. This will satisfy you. And of course, you need the fats for satisfaction. Here's the food waste, the stuff I'm tossing. And like I say, I used to just throw that in the garbage until I could smell it a week later. Now I keep it in a little bag in the freezer. And then on garbage day, I take it out. Same thing, here's recycling. I used some cans, so the salsa, there's some Bertolli's from the day before. Just leave that out to dry so I could toss it in the recycling. Because the salsa is so low in calories and fats, I can add fat in the form of Parmesan cheese. I'm putting 80 grams of cheese for both days, so today I'm measuring out 40 grams, and that's the cheese. The total calories are 320. So here's the bowl after being heated 4 times, 2 minutes, maybe one of them 3 minutes. get it all hot, stirring in between each of those 2-minute sessions, and then get that Parmesan cheese and sprinkle that. Here it is with all the Parmesan cheese on it. Ready to go. It's a delicious meal. It's really nutritious. It's got the salmon and all of those omega stuff. It's pretty good. As I do this, I keep track of the calories, right? So here's my little sheet. In the bottom left, you can see the weights as I split the bowls up. They're almost exact weight. The middle is the calories. 903 grams is 314 calories. Total calories, 1147. That's only 574 a day. Then about 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I finish the day with 5 cups, a big 32-ounce coffee that I make in my Buena Vista coffee maker. A cup of whole milk for 150 calories. So my total calories for the day is around 1,000. Okay, so that was the middle shelf, all these packaged things. Now let's go get both the bottom and the top shelf. And top shelf is symbolic because it's the high calorie stuff. And that's where I am still careful about measuring. Let's see if I can get all this in one trip. It's going to be a little tough. Okay, here we go. So top shelf, all this is high calorie, top shelf. Then the bottom shelf, celeries and green beans. So while I cut this, let's talk about the last meal I had before this one, which was chicken, gravy, and gorgonzola cheese, because the gravy doesn't have a lot of fat. The gorgonzola cheese adds the fat to keep it analog, all right? So I'll cut this, check out the breakfast, lunch, and dinner I made for that meal. Like all days, it starts with a big vegetable omelet, 12 different vegetables, lots of chopping in the analog diet. Chop them up, add reverse osmosis water to the bowl, toss it in the pan. So this is a scan pan again, and we're going to replace it a little bit. Cook them down. When they get cooked down far enough, I can pull them to the front like this. Pour the omelet. You can see some spices sprinkled there, cinnamon, oregano, things like that. Pile the vegetables in the middle of the omelet there, and then get a spatula and get the right side flipped up. That's why I only put seasoning on the right, because then when the left side goes up, you can kind of push it down and stick it so that the omelet stays together, doesn't fall apart. It gets kind of embarrassing when that happens. And then today I used Cholula sauce. So that's one of my favorite sauces. Same thing, Morehouse horseradish, creamy, sassy horseradish, sour cream. There's the calories. Then for the main meal, here's the chicken. I freeze it when I buy chicken tenderloin at Publix. Freeze it up, put it in individual bags, weigh it out. Around 400 is my goal. Then unwrap them, spread them out on that Corelware dish so that hopefully the microwaves can get in and thaw them enough to cut. Put them in the microwave oven, my Sharp R6300 commercial microwave. Towel on top so the spatter doesn't go everywhere. I think only 2 minutes this time, and then when it comes out, you can see it's pretty much thawed. The little white places are where it's cooked on the tips, but not too bad. Go to the cutting board. I'm chopping vegetables at the same time, but then get back to the cutting board, slice the chicken into thin strips so the microwaves can get in and cook it. Pop that in, same thing with the paper towel. When it comes out, you can see close to us there's some undercooked on the bottom of that plate. So separated those out that still hadn't gotten an even dose of the microwaves, and then pop those back in. I don't even think for a minute, maybe a minute, 2 minutes. Same thing as before. Here's the plate. Sorry, out of focus, but a lot of fat has cooked out of that chicken. Not as much as salmon or anything. So we don't want to weigh that. So then we pick out the chicken, put it on the scale. You can see 332 grams now we're down to from the over 400. Once we got that, we can take chicken. Meanwhile, we've gotten the vegetables all chopped. You can see the high calorie vegetables are on the top, 22 grams each for those. And then cut the chicken into small cubes, sprinkle that evenly on top of those vegetables. And then today we're going to do gravy, and having the gravy, we're using just a jar, 1 cup of Heinz Homestyle Classic Chicken, chicken on chicken. There's 2 cups in the thing, so you make 2 meals with this. There's the stirred up bowl, and the gravy just kind of gets distributed evenly. You can barely see it. I don't want soup, right? I want a vegetable bowl. Then do that weighing business that we're going to do later in this show, and you'll see we split 2 equal sizes. Look at that smaller bowl. Same amount of food, but it's just an immense amount of food. Very satisfying. You get the food waste like normal. I just took a snap of that to show you how much food waste, and that goes in the freezer so it doesn't stink up the kitchen. Then here's the Gorgonzola cheese. We're going to put all 113 grams in, but each meal only gets 56 grams. So we've weighed that out. The 56 grams for today's meal. There's the meal coming out of the microwave, 4 times in the microwave, 2-3 minutes each time, stirring in between. Got that nice and uniform. And take that Gorgonzola cheese, sprinkle it on top. It's a strong cheese, so the mild chicken and the mild gravy kind of contrast with the strong cheese. Here's the calories, 1,079 calories for 2 days. So for 1 day, it's 540 calories. Then that was about 2:30. I have that meal. Then around 6-7 o'clock, I'll have the coffee. And here's the calories for the total day that we had. So 150 for the coffee, the milk in the coffee, and we're done. Okay, so that was the bottom and top shelves. High calorie stuff, I still measure out 22 grams. I don't try to get frisky. Stuff in the cans, of course, you don't have to do as much food planning. Just open the can when it's ready. Let me get this stuff back on the shelf where it belongs. I leave the green beans open because otherwise they tend to go bad quicker. All right, next, we got to get the salami. This is going to astonish you. It is Genoa salami from Publix Deli, pre-cut, reduced fat. And so you can see it's 5 servings, 110 calories a serving. So by my ciphering, salami, that's how much we're going to eat, 284 grams. But we'll just use this package to figure out 5 times 110, 550 calories. It's a lot of calories, but you'll see how this all works out because the analog diet is analog, right? It's not digital. I'm not saying you got to be perfect and doing every weight and every measure, but when you have a real fatty meat like this, we're not going to put cheese on this. So let's see if we can do this. It'd be better if it was just a chunk, I guess, and you could make little chunks of salami, but this won't be bad. It is salty compared to my usual intake, so that's going to probably cause a little weight retention for 4 days maybe. So and I sharpened this knife before. I had to do a keeper toss. I bought a Kyocera diamond sharpener, and it's battery powered, and it's just not strong enough with, at least with rechargeable batteries. Maybe with alkaline cells it would work better. Okay, so now we can sprinkle the meat. Here, can you see that? Yeah, I guess. The bowl's pretty full because of the nice fluffy spinach and kale. I used to try romaine and other salads. They wouldn't stay fresh. The two that stay fresh are spinach and kale. All right, now let's get the gravy. What kind? Let's use beef, even though supposedly I don't tend to go through it fast enough. So this is standard Heinz. It's 1 cup of this we're going to measure out will be 100 calories. And so being only 100 calories, that tells you that there can't be that much fat. I'm sure there's plenty of salt and other stuff in here. Get our spoon, get our measuring cup. Here we go, here we go. And that's about it. Then you know me, I'm big on putting stuff right back in the fridge right away. Food safety, food planning. Then with this, you can kind of slowly meter this gravy on top. So there's only 100 calories here. If it wasn't salami, if we had something low calorie like fish or chicken, well, then we could put cheese on top of this. Blue cheese, gorgonzola like the other meal, Parmesan cheese, one of my favorites. But because there's so much fat in the meat, we can't add fat in the cheese. At least you shouldn't, right? Like I say, it's analog. You're allowed to cheat, but be aware, cheating got me 20 pounds extra. We're getting ready for cleaning. So then I found go 6 times twice. So 6 digs, bring the dry stuff up, stab it. Stabbing's more important than the digging, I think. I'm doing this. That was 2. Here's 3. Here's number 4. Here's number 5. Here's number 6. Come on. And once more. Here's once. Twice. This is a bit of a ceremony too. 3. It's getting pretty well mixed. 4. Try to get some of that middle stuff there. 4. 5. Now let's get pretty uniform. 6. And let's clean all this off. It's a little messy, right? Not the end of the world. A little piece of salami, a couple errant lettuce. And now we do the cogitating and calculating part of this. Zero the scale out. Remember to do that. Gently put it on the scale so you don't wreck it. The weight of the bowl and 2 meals is 2902 grams, 2,902 grams. Okay, so now here, get the calculator going, 2,902. Then we subtract the weight of the bowl, minus 1513, 1389, divide by 2, because that's the whole point of this. We're just trying to split the meal. Now add that weight of the bowl back in. Plus 15, I hope you can follow this. 2207.5, you round to an even number, 2208. 2208. Set this aside. Get the small bowl that we're going to put in the refrigerator for tomorrow. I've learned, don't put it close or you'll have all this on the floor. Be real patient, hold it at a gentle angle like this. Let the top stuff start coming down. And then you can dig out a lot of this other stuff. What do you think? 2308, not enough. What are you trying? Oh, we're trying to take 100 gram. Boy, I was way off, huh? 2268, still way off. Get some heavy stuff here, 2245. Keep forgetting it's 2207, so we're there. And I wanted to do this to show you. Here, can we put it in the top camera? Yeah. So you can see how much food this is, right? This is an immense amount of food. So clean up, it's a little messy, but not bad. Okay, so get this little bowl in the fridge right away. Food planning, food safety. Didn't even know what those were a year ago. And then here, if you want, you can stir it up a little better. Okay, get the top for the microwave. I'm gonna go put this in the microwave. Let me set up that camera. We'll be back in a flash. Okay, I guess you could use an oven, but this is all meant to be a lifestyle fast. Come here, put it in the microwave. Get this, we're gonna put the tops here, and this is gonna keep track of how many times we've reheated. I'm gonna do 3 minutes for the first time. Usually it's 4 2-minute sessions. We'll do a little extra. So while that cooks, what I want to talk about is all the things, why you want to do this, all the things in my life that got way better because I lost this weight and changed my lifestyle. The big one, number one was diabetes. I was full on, I had it, right? And when my doctor upped my prescription, she gave me metformin, and then that was my excuse to eat more sugar and ice cream and Reese's cups. So then she gave me 1,000 milligrams. She doubled my dose. When that happened, that was like an alcoholic hitting bottom. So started the analog diet, invented this thing. It's worked for me. I hope it works for other people. And my blood sugar went down almost immediately after lowering, all the junk food. The A1C, which is like damage to your blood cells caused by all this extra sugar in your body, it went from over 9 to under 5. That took like 6, 7 months. And that's the way it is now. In other words, cured, no medicine. The other big one was high blood pressure. I was in stressful jobs, Silicon Valley, California, major corporate nonsense. They did free health screenings. So I'm like, oh, free, I like that. My blood pressure was 200. I forget what the diastolic was, but 200 over, same. They wanted to call an ambulance. And I promised, I'll go to the doctor tomorrow. And I held that promise. She put me on lisinopril. That was, 7, 8 years ago. Before the diabetes, I had the high blood pressure. If anything, after losing all that weight and controlling salt, the only salt is whatever's in these salt. I don't add salt like Emerald, not up a notch. No. That's your blood pressure going up a notch. So now my blood pressure is like 110, right? Cured, okay? The other biggie, back pain. When I had that big cantilevered 318-pound belly, I couldn't stand up just a few minutes. I'd be in agony right now. Lower back pain. Oh my God. Of course, then you want to lay down all the time or sit down all the time, and that's just less activity, makes it worse. Same thing, and it didn't take the whole entire weight loss. Just 40 pounds. Boom. Now, no back pain at all. I'm cured. So the other thing that I consider kind of a major thing was heartburn. I used to have horrible heartburn. I'd lay down, oh God, I have jars of Tums. I have them in the car, I'd have them in the bathroom, I have them by where I sit, constantly gobbling those, especially when I lay down, especially, if I ate something like this salami, that would set it off. I'm an engineer. It never occurred to me that when you got a big bag of fat, it pushes all your other organs. That trainer buddy of mine told me, oh no, subcutaneous fat goes on first. Inside your body, it's squeezing your stomach, and that's caused the acid reflux. So let's go stir it up here. And I can tell you, those were the biggies, but things like having to go to the bathroom all the time. Well, all that extra weight pushes on your bladder too. So we marked this here. So we'll go 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got fewer ear infections. My athlete's foot got better. All I think from just having much less blood sugar all the time. So now we'll do 2 minutes. This ring here marks how many times we've heated it up. 2 minutes. So while that heats, let's talk about diet and lifestyle. It's another thing a trainer buddy of mine tipped me off 10, 15 years ago. If you think of a diet as I'm going to deprive myself of stuff I really, really want for a period of time. I'm going to get to some weight, and then I'm going to go right back to the way I was. When my trainer used the word diet, he meant in the sense of a lifestyle. Meaning, like, for me, it's analog, but it's a little radical. No sugar, no salt, minimal salt, you know, the salt's and all the extra stuff. No fruit, no alcohol. All that's, you know, fructose, glucose, all that makes blood sugar spikes. All that makes insulin spikes. All that, in my opinion, this isn't medical fact, pushes cholesterol to try to protect your veins and arteries. And so one of the psychological terms I love is magical thinking. And it's related to that, doing the same thing over and over is the definition of stupidity if you expect a different outcome. So for me, the lifestyle was important. And it didn't bother me that I gained 20 pounds and then I'd lose 20. And I'd gain 20 this time, now I'm going to lose it again. The fact that I wasn't eating sugar and salt and junk, I was eating nuts and cheese, and that was the extra, almost 1,000 calories. I finally calculated it, right? So that magical thinking of, oh, as soon as I'm done with this, as soon as I get to my 170, I'm going to eat this, and I'm going to make that, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to do everything I used to do, you know, taking it as a punishment. And that's why so many people fail. You have to resign yourself to the fact that it's a lifestyle that you have to change. Some of that is activity, but you don't use exercise to work off weight. That's a biggest loser fallacy, right? But staying active, like I say, about an hour a day, I try to stay on my feet. I got a home gym I bought because pandemic, I don't go out. So don't do magical thinking, all right? Let's come back here. Oops. Have a little disaster. We got a little piece here. Hope you can see that. And now we put it on the other side of the paper towel. So we have 2 rings on the towel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's so quick. And you know, part of it, it's funny. It's analog, and I talk about making a big deal out of it. But I also do things fast. So consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. I forget who said that. Okay, it's already pretty warm. Let's go 2 more minutes. Okay, this time, and I've touched on this before, I hate to harp on it. Another thing, there's a lot of stuff my trainer taught me 15 years ago. I don't know if it's true today, but back then, he had a fitness, he had a PE degree, kinesiology, biology, all of that. He was getting a master's in psychology. He said, there is no peer-reviewed study that shows age and weight loss are related. All of the people, oh, when you're older, it's so much harder to lose weight or control your weight. No, when you're older, you're less active and you're so sedentary and your metabolism drops. The primary thing in metabolism is lean muscle mass, right? And doing the gym kind of helps that because as an older guy, it keeps me from muscle wasting. So I keep the same lean muscle mass, which sets that metabolism. And just being up and around and, you know, working on housework, working out in the garden, doing stuff like that, keeping that up, you can see from that spreadsheet, right? It's been linear. It's like somebody threw a switch. All of a sudden, you know, 10 pounds a month are coming off. Doesn't matter that I'm an old guy now. I think, you know, with the 1,000 calorie, you know, intake, it would be the same if I was a young person. So don't fall into that trap of, you know, don't give yourself excuses why for you it doesn't work. Right? Yeah, there are people with thyroid problems and that, you know, glandular condition, that's extremely rare, right? And that's why it was important for me not to do like a bariatric gastric band thing, where they say 30,000 different genes in your DNA change and express or unexpress. And they don't know why, and they don't know everything going on, but anything that fundamentally changes my genetic structure that much, I didn't want to try that. I said, let's try this lifestyle mentality. All right, let's go heat this one up, stir this one up. We got 2 rings here, so this is going to be the 3rd and final. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stir, stir. Oh, it's nice and warm now. You can tell. 2 minutes is going to be plenty. last thing while it's cooking, I'd like to talk about the tea ceremony aspect of this. It's not Zen, it's not Buddhism. If anything, it's more Confucian, which is big on rituals. If you put, I told you before, if you put cheap wine in expensive bottles and give it to professional wine tasters and professional wine lovers, they will say that the cheap wine tastes better than if it's in the cheap bottle. That's another thing my trainer, this is a trainer kind of thing, mind-body connection. Cells in your mind control the cells in your body. Cells in your body control the neurons in your brain. So if you are truly convinced, audiophiles have this. They spend $80,000 on a stereo. Oh, it sounds better. Well, to them, it does. And it's not like they're lying or it's psychological. It's true. It really, truly does sound better. So the tea ceremony aspect that I call of the analog diet, you know, taking the pictures. Here, let's take a picture of our food waste here. We can put that up. Click. Keeping this pad with, you know, all the calories and filling that out. Having my little spreadsheet where I calculate stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure I could just guesstimate, especially since a lot of the vegetables are designed not to an absolute weight, but just so I use them all up in 8 days, right? I probably don't have to do that. But I want to do that because that makes a big production out of this meal and makes it more satisfying when I do eat it. This is my warning to people, you know, you got a spouse, he or she makes all the meals. I don't think that's smart because then you're just presented this meal, you gobble it down, oh, I'm still hungry. If you prepare the meal, you know, alternate. You could do, she could do one day, you could do the next, back and forth, right? So tea ceremony, think about that. Okay, so now this towel with the 3 rings on it, we can split in half, use it as pot holders. Come over here. Okay, so we got our little poor man's pot holders. See, that stay clean. Cloth pot holders just hold bacteria. So we can come here, get our spoon, do one final stir. You can see all of the salami in here. There we go. So, analog diet, week 3, 10 pounds gone. We're ahead of our 10 pounds a month. Tune in next time. Hopefully there'll be another 2-3 pounds that get me back down to size 34 pants. All right? Sportster Paul here, analog diet. Catch you next time. Bye.